Hello Marvel Heroes fans, my name is Wilfred and welcome to my channel where you can see videos and guides on this free-to-play game called Marvel Heroes Omega. If you like this sort of guide, to check out the link at the description below. I always keep the most updated video guides in my website so that you can always jump to the relevant ones. Now, quite a number of you in the past have asked me if I could do a video guide on Hawkeyes, and I'm more than happy to do so. And especially for Tony from my YouTube channel, who has been reminding me lately that I would, really want to see a Hawkeye guide. So this one is for you, Tony. All right. Now, one thing to note is that this is a PC version. So whatever you see here in your console world, if you see similar kind of like a power as well as the trait and talent design, then all good news for you because you can adapt accordingly. If not, my apologies in advance. I can't control how Gazillion is not able to keep up with each platform the same way. So now, in this video, I'm going to spend some time talking about Hawkeye in the overview part of it, and also for those who are from the old-timers perspective, would like to hear a little bit more about how Hawkeye has been changed after the biggest update ever, so stay on for that portion. And I'll also deep dive into the talent trait and power design to give you some idea what sort of build that you'd like to look out for. Maybe you want to create a build of your own but not quite sure what each power means and so on. So that part is for you. Last but not least, I'm going to bring her or him or her into one of the cosmic terminals just to showcase to you how he or she plays like. I'll put some time codes at the description of the video, so feel free to jump around if you want to. Alright, now, from the overview point of view, the Hawkeye, after the biggest update ever, there has been some improvement in terms of the whole trickster kind of like a build, whereby there are some power that is really about the whole trick arrow kind of thingy. But they seem to tie it really tightly with the rest of the build. So I haven't really found one build whereby I can do purely without the tricks. The trick arrow seems to me has to be incorporated into one of the the entire build that I have. I'm trying my best to avoid using too many because the reason why is that my Hawkeye, and the way I see Hawkeye is that it's a glass cannon. You can see that the health is not that high. But more so, my Hawkeye, the one that I could relate to, has really high crit, and that opened up the brutal opportunity for me to shine using a nullifier. Now, whether it is still good or not after all the nerf on the crit and brutal rating is another topic for discussion. Omega gear is not out yet. But I would like to retain the kind of high crit, high brutal kind of like gameplay because that excites me quite a fair bit when I play Hawkeye. So the build that I'm introducing to you is to minimize the amount of tricks, kind of arrow kind of thing, but mainly focus on the non-trick kind of like a build. Now, why is it so? You could, I mean, my Hawkeye is very basic. I'm using the pre 2.0 gears, by the way. But you could, however, put up your crit to maybe. If I look at my range, crit is about 49.3. If I look at my physical crit, is about 48.6. So usually, the two has to go hand in hand, but there aren't any indicators saying that range physical, right? So usually what I do is I look at my base crit, which is only about 42%, and what's being augmented by the range versus what is augmented by the physical. Taking into consideration of the diminishing return, I would say that my Hawkeye most likely before all this proc from the gear running about 52%, perhaps to 53% crit percentage. And on top of that, my talents will be able to have a non-trick power will have an additional 10% crit on top. So you're running about 63% kind of like crit against the target. That's before all the proc and so on. So that's rather comfortable to open up the brutal. My brutal strike rating is so-so, 37%, but my brutal damage is about 600% and so. That is kind of like the gameplay that I enjoy. Well, I mean, after the biggest update ever, for me, Hawkeye is a little bit too cooldown kind of dependent. Everything become like just because there are so many heroes nowadays, just cooldown, you just monitor which one off cooldown, click the button. And sometimes it kind of disturbs the flow of the, like last time when I played Hawkeye, I can lay quite a lot of things like, I can freely use my poison, I can freely use my explosion, I can freely shoot, and I don't need to worry about all this cooldown thingy. But now it seems to me it's a lot of cooldown management like any other heroes out there. So like I said before, sometimes this game, after the biggest update ever, you play one hero, you probably have seen quite a few other heroes as well. Another thing to note is that there's no more the three arrow burst, which is used to be a main spender, which I enjoy because you can see the Hawkeye last time can shoot like 3 times very fast, and I kind of enjoy the kind of animation and kind of like attack speed to it. But now we have to use a basic power, which is like any other heroes nowadays that require you to use a basic power and after that the whole resource just doesn't make sense anymore because it's always full or mostly full. And unlike other games like Diablo 3, it doesn't really reward you if your spirit is always full or mostly full anyway. I mean, how nice if there are some kind of artifacts or gear whereby if you can maintain your spirit to be 90% full all the time, you get a huge buff in your brutal and or crit chance. I mean, that would be rather interesting build kind of like consideration. But in any case, I'm going to deep dive a little bit more about the build itself. I think the last note I would like to just mention, one thing I don't really like about the biggest update ever for this hero is that she does quite a few things, like you can freeze target. I mean, there are some arrows that can freeze, there are some arrows that can shot, and there are some arrows that can do poison and so on and so forth, like shock and stuff like that. If you see other heroes like Black Widow, anything with electricity source is energy power. If you look at Star-Lord, anything to do with kind of like freeze, kind of grenade is energy power. So why does Hawkeye, if you take a look at the, say, 3 arrow burst, freeze, electric, explosion, everything is physical. I cannot relate how freeze kind of like, power can be physical, but that is just my own personal kind of like, I can't really get into a game if you design like, what if Scarlet Witch does like, physical damage? What if like Iron Man does, the beam does physical, kind of thing. So I just can't relate to that in that case, but that's just myself. When I play the game, I like to connect to the power that I have. But anyway, this is just a very like overall kind of intro to how Hawkeye is like, and I think survivability wise he or she is fine because there are way to taunt target, although the boss sometimes cannot be taunted. I don't know why, but there's also a way that you can go invisible as well. So all in all, a rather comfortable play, just that a lot of cooldown management itself. Alright, so in this part of the video, let me just introduce her power, trait, and talent design. And before I do that, let me show you the bike. I think it's probably one of the good thing about Hawkeye these days is I believe Hawkeye probably has one of the best bike. Sorry, Deadpool. I think Deadpool's one is fine too, but I like Hawkeye's one a lot. It is so futuristic. It's just so nice here. Alright, so that is a bike of Hawkeye. I can fly, basically flying. Not the land transport, by the way, but it's a flying bike, so it's really, really nice. Now, okay, let's take a look at the power trait and kind of like a design kind of thing. So it's going to spend, I'm going to spend some time here, so just be patient a little bit because I think there's a lot of options out there. In case you don't like my build for whatever the reason, you can feel free to venture out to do the build that you want, but at least I give you some idea to it. He or she is fighting intelligent heroes, so if you gear a lot of like old artifact, probably you have to change your artifact to align to the fighting and or intelligence. That it is. There is a trick arrow kind of thing, so you could actually get the trick arrow kind of meter here. I can show it to you. So it's something like that. Then you you get 3 trick arrow here, explosive trick arrow here. And to consume this guy, there are 2 ways. Either you can do a rocket arrow, which I think some of you may have already known in the past. You can do a rocket, which you charge up and then shoot, and that is 1 charge. Or you can do a boomerang as well. That would just like, because it boomerang, so it consumes 2 of them. So there's one, there is something special about a trick quiver, but the design perspective is a little bit odd because I'll talk a little bit about that later. I can either find it, I utilize too much, or I don't utilize enough, or I don't utilize at all, or there's no trick arrow. So it's just a little bit odd design here. The third is Hawkeye is a deflect dodge hero, so it's just glass cannon. There's no defense to it. So you could say that Hawkeye to survive, it depends a lot on chances. But again, it's just one of those hero design. I wish that they have this like design mentality whereby if you are deflect dodge hero, you are more powerful in your range or whatnot to compensate for the kind of like risk that you're taking. But that's just the way that I would design. The first tier, let's take a look at the talent first, because I think with the talent it kind of come quite clear on what you should do here. So the first tier is that I would like all my non-trick arrow power to gain 10% of critical hit chance. Now what are the non-trick arrow power? So for example, the main power is a non-trick arrow. I have other things like speed loader as well, boomerang, rocket, everything is just non-trick kind of thing. Which are the trick one? The trick ones are the one that is like electric arrow, things like nerve gas arrow, well no sorry, not nerve gas, things like explosive arrow, things like freeze arrow. So these are the 3 trick arrows that you have. Now if you just look at the DPS of the trick arrows, it's actually rather low. One is to apply vulnerability, which inherently is kind of low in DPS anyway. Another one is that it does kind of knock down kind of like kind of thing to it. Like anything to do with utility, usually the power is a little bit lower in DPS as well, because it has to design that way. Because otherwise you always pick one that with the utility, right? I mean, if one power does one power just hit, another one hit and give you a shock as well, which one would you pick? Of course you pick the one that of both utility and the DPS, if the DPS are equal, so they can't be the same. And the last but not the least, again, is the vulnerability, your freeze arrow kind of thing. Again, the DPS is rather low for this one, so these are the 3 trick arrow to it. And so on. There are other things that you probably know what it is, if you move your mouse over it. So that is the one that, because I would like to focus very much on non-trick to deal with the DPS, and I would like to use the trick arrows to perform as utility. So I'm not going to shift all my power into the trick kind of thing. Now, of course, you can always, when you activate a trick arrow, do health regen and stuff like that, restore spirit, but really spirit is never an issue in Hawkeye. I do not know why some heroes are so easy to maintain spirit, basicless, and some heroes just, Hawkeye has to use basic power, but you know what I mean. Some heroes just find it so hard to just maintain that. Third one is that serrated hero, arrow, wave of arrow, speed loader, stuff like that, have a better chance to trigger some trick arrowhead effect, which is fine because I use the wave of arrows, which you'll see later. I use a speed loader, I use a serrated arrow. So the intuition will say, well, let's pick this one because I can maximize this. But the reality is that it really is not really that great, the trick arrow part of it, at least from my perspective. There are ways to buff it, but I picked this one instead. 10% crit is humongous. I mean, that's really, I don't think, yeah, I mean, well, it depends on your build, but I really want to have this 10%. Okay, next tier wise, you can have melee. So Hawkeyes can become melee. I tried that a little bit, and thanks but no thanks, because Hawkeye is not really a defense hero, number one. Number two is that without like reliable stealth, I know Hawkeye can stealth here and there, but without reliable stealth like maybe Black Panther or whatever it is, it's kind of hard to sustain the kind of like incoming damage kind of thing, or mitigate, sorry. Now another one that I picked is a speed loader volley. Speed loader volley is the one that you see here. It goes something like that. Alright, so it just like a shoot a few times, nothing really special, but what it really means is that now it hit a bit harder because and then also it will pierce through as well. So if you hit the boss behind, get some elf, then elf get hit as well. Third one is that you can also buff your trick arrowhead and blah blah blah, and then apply the cooldown for this arrowhead, this trick arrowhead, 8 seconds. So you could potentially have quite a fair bit of kind of trick arrows on your hotbar and then try to buff it by 30%, but seriously, even after 30% for 8-second cooldown, it is not worth it. I mean, in my opinion, now looking at the numbers itself. Okay, third tier wise, Flash Bomb. Now, Flash Bomb, like in the past, what it does is that it will give you invisibility, but it also gives you an overall buff to your power. So it's the same thing. Usually, I pop the Flash Bomb before I pop any big power output kind of thing. So here will give me a more longer buff. Longer invisibility, which is good, but more so, it also provides me with 3 extra trick arrow, which a little bit of utility there. Not going to rely a lot on this guy because it's random anyhow, but it's kind of like at least there's something to play for. Otherwise, without this one, there's really nothing on this one here, so it's kind of boring in some sense. Or you can say that you can use a flash bomb to create the 2 random trick arrows. You can use a 3 arrow burst as well, but then I've decided not to use the 3 arrow burst because it just doesn't seem to. I mean, it hits okay, doesn't hit really hard, and it's just not like in the past. And it's 4-second kind of cooldown, it just cool down and cool down. So I prefer to generate my trick arrow using the flash bomb, but you could, if you like have 3 arrow burst kind of thing, you could do that. And last but not least, you could also do this one as well. In fact, the thing is that if I go for pure non-trick kind of like scenario, I could actually use this one too. I mean, both of them are rather nice, but I kind of like the kind of buff and invisibility to it, and I like to set myself up for some bigger power, like things like the signature and stuff like that. So, but this tool is really entirely up to you, because in this build I use both rocket as well as boomerang. It is just a toss of cons. If you like the kind of boomerang that keep boomeranging, it's good as well. But bear in mind that because at the end of the day, you can only do flash bomb that often, and flash bomb in this build is the only way for you to generate the trick kind of arrowhead. So even if you do a bit more like another kind of like boomerang charges, you are likely not using any of this trick arrowhead anyway. So just some thought to share. Nothing dramatic here. I mean, at the end of the day, you can still rely on your rocket arrow as well as the boomerang arrow to deal damage. Last 2 tiers, once every 3 seconds automatically generate a trick arrowhead of the last trick arrowhead that you use. It is alright, but like I said, I'm not a fan of trick arrowhead, so I should shut up on this one. Cooldown, this is kind of fun because the signature has a long cooldown, but with this one I can actually have a shorter cooldown, but of course it becomes a shorter duration as well. Previously was 6 seconds, now become 4 seconds, which is still fine because I realized that sometimes if I can pop it up more often, I can actually at least use it more often in terms of the signature perspective. Last but not the least, I can have the serrated chance to fire additional arrow, double. So if you take a look at the serrated arrow, which is the basic power that I don't think you have an option not to use, you have a chance to hit an additional arrow kind of thing, so 10% chance to fire another arrow. So although this is a basic power, if you do the mathematics, you add another 20%, add another 10% of chance and here and there. This one buff a little bit slightly more, but I mean, I'm not going to, I mean, really, this one will buff your main basic power by 100%. Chances to 100%, which kind of effectively, I think what it does is that it multiplies 3 times, which is kind of awesome, but only for 4 seconds or 6 seconds. So the choice is yours. I prefer to be able to pop my signature more often. And last but not the least, this is great stuff, man. This is Wave of Arrow, which is the one that is this one I'm using here. Become overwhelming power. Now, overwhelming force will fire all 3 trick arrows as well. Use a shrieking arrow to taunt as well as the nerve gas arrow, which is arguably one of the best layer out there. So you do not need to have this one on your hotbar, but you can use your augmenting the overwhelming power to have 3 + 2 arrow inside, so it's basically a whole bunch of arrows there. And the good thing about this is that it does a taunt as well, so it has a taunt here, the one blinking here, taunt, and then you have explosion, you have the gas, and you have everything else there. So you use this one every 8 seconds to debuff and do whatever you need. If you like to just spam your streaking arrow, you can do it like every 4 seconds, but seriously, I mean, I'd rather just have one of these, and then after that I time myself so that I can go I rather have one of these, and then I time myself to use a flash bomb as and when I need to sort of like, you know, interlace between the two, because when this guy explodes 3 seconds explosion, I have my 5 second is basically exposed, so I could use my flash bomb to kind of like, you know, augment that, you know, kind of like, you know, 5-second thing here in some sense. So I would just go for this one here. Last but not the least, elusive arrow, gain 10-second cooldown, activate flash bomb, and this one. So it is also rather interesting as well, but seriously, I mean, this is like just too good to be true. 5 power in 1 power. I mean, where else in the whole game do you find stuff like that? So now I'm not going to go too much about the rest of it, because I don't think you know, that the rest of it is really need a lot of explanation. The other thing is that, do you want to have a medical arrow or not? Do you want to have the, you know, no, that's about it really. I mean, this is totally for utility. At the end of the day, it probably won't save you in any of the hard content. If you are being chased after by the mob or doing some kind of like harder cosmic content, I doubt this one will help much anyway. So just to repeat, the main power is the serrated arrow. All right, so the overwhelming force is the one that you know, like I mentioned before, all 5 arrows come into one, and then after that the volley, the speed loaded volley. Then you can boomerang out, you can go charge up for your rocket, and then you can flash bomb yourself and drop a signature, and that's it. Be awesome. All right, so that is basically how you're going to play Hawkeye, and I'm going to do, in the next bit of the video, I'm going to go into one of the cosmic terminal, and just to show you how she or he play. Like, all right, welcome back, Hawkeye, in the cosmic bugle, Daily Bugle, using mostly using pre 2.0 gear. So whatever you see here, kill time, whatever it is not really that fantastic, but just to demonstrate to you, you know, what kind of things that you can expect when you unlock Hawkeye. Kind of thing. So this is one of them, and you can do like this one here, taunt, and you can do a speed loader kind of thing. You can do like that one and then charge up and stuff like that, or you can just do a, you know, signature there, and you can clean up quite a fair bit of stuff there. All right, so that's it. All right, second one is done, and I still miss my unlimited charge in some sense. Okay, so here's 1 arrow there, 2 arrow here. Then I can charge up there. Well, that's it. That guy's dead. You know, I saved the civilian, so I'm a hero. So again, rinse and repeat, and but just that you know, just that I feel that sometimes I really miss my three burst round or whatever it is. That is a lot more fantastic sometimes. So that's it. Let's go in and continue the Daily Bugle. I heard that they are going to fix this by lowering the requirement to 50 instead of 100, because they feel that probably it's a lot easier to change one side instead of 2 sides. And well, I can understand why they do the thing they do. Right, so that's it. I mean, like I said, the main problem with this build is that when it comes to all this cooldown reduction, it's kind of like, you know, when everything is in cooldown, there's nothing much you can do really. That is my main complaint about this, you know, this Marvel hero setup, that nowadays everything is on cooldown. Now he bubble up, so there's no point to anything. And let's just go this one here, thing, and I don't know, man. I just not quite the same. If I can't, no, I run away, man. This is like totally animation, kind of like either animation or just a lag. You know, I know I complain a lot. Oh man, seriously. I wait until his bubble is out, and I'm going to do this thing. Alright, it says taunt. And yeah, so I'm not really running my rotation really fast, so but I'm just long day at work and just want to show you how it's like. And that's Hawkeye. And whenever there's a bubble like this, it's really very boring. There's nothing you can do. Yeah, so that's it. So that bubble up mechanism, I think, has to go away in this game. It is not popular, and that's because there's really, I mean, you just need to move around and do nothing while this thing is on cooldown. I mean, while they bubble up, and there's nothing you can do. All right, so let's just drop a signature here, then do a taunt, do the volley, whatever, speed volley, do the, oh, boomerang miss, man. Oh man, that is not good. Alright, so no! See, that is like there's a glass cannon is like this. Wow, okay. So I was at the edge. I was like hoping that, well, maybe I can be lucky. I was just at the edge. But no, you can't. Okay, go somewhere. Alright, so these are deadly. I mean, for other heroes, we have been survived on those things. But because, you know, like I said, it's not a defense hero. So if you don't manage... Wow. I was like... I was so lucky. I actually clicked and then it delayed for 1 second. So that could have been death. But for other hero, because there's a, you know, for defense heroes, it's a lot easier to survive those kind of like thing. But this one you can't really survive. So yeah, just be mindful when you play Hawkeye. Can be a little bit fragile. Have to watch out for all these boss mechanic, and just hope that you are not lagged out like me. Sometimes it's just very hard to. I'm just waiting for my. All right. Boomerang. I hope my boomerang hit though. I don't know why my boomerang kind of like doesn't seem to hit anything. Okay, another rocket thingy. I hope that will do a job. Alright, done. Ah, there are a few guys here. Let's see. Okay, this boomerang hits. Sometimes it doesn't. Alright, so let's just be a bit careful. Glass cannon. Rocket! Oh wow, that hits, man. Boomerang? Okay. Not required. Okay, next one. The office itself. Quite a few mobs. I think if you've seen one, you've seen all. They all look the same. I mean, all the terminals are exactly the same. I mean the Daily Bugle. It's not. There's nothing randomized here. Okay, so that's it, and let's pick out this fight. This muckler. Come on, man, die, die. Alright, so electricity. I bet that electricity does like a physical power maybe. Now it's invisible, by the way, just in case you wonder. Boomerang, rocket. I think that should do. What? My rocket didn't kill him. Yeah. Alright, done. Okay, sorry. Second last boss, and after that I can do like probably ultimate and for the final boss. Oh man, I'll let you know why I laugh. Oh man, I clicked out, man. Seriously, I don't know why I'm still playing this game. Seriously, I mean. I clicked out and I couldn't quite like engage into like get away. Good stuff. I think somehow that yeah, I think that I've earned the reward. I hope extra chest. Just nice. I was looking at the screen just now, 98. I was a little bit concerned, but okay. So I'm going to use the ultimate after I've done my power buff and stuff like that. All right. So let's see. Whether it's a shield up or no shield up, I think that that's an important decision. Right. So what sort of power you use? Ooh, beam 1. I think this is ultimate and the. Yeah, so yep, that's it. And I've got extra chests. Let's wish me luck. I've never seen anything in this terminal. So, ooh, finally, I've got something here. What have I got? I've got the enhanced mechanical wing. See what it does. It increased to, oh, hang on a second. The first row is horrible. It increased the range power, move speed is crap, speed, so it's for speed hero. I have to use a movement power. So movement range hero with the speed kind of like affixes to it. I definitely need to reroll the cosmic kind of like affix. Anyhow, it's finally got something, man, finally. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video, and I think just to recap, I mean, Hawkeye is alright after the biggest update ever. Cooldown management, glass cannon, even if you stand at the edge of the whatever telegraph, just make sure you move a little bit further. And sometimes things may lag out like myself, and just unfortunate. But do let me know in the comment box below how you like your Hawkeye, and if you like this sort of video, do check out other guys as well. At the description below, there are more guides for you to watch. Alright, see you next time. Goodbye.